What's going on? It's Two Commas on the Year of the Wager channel. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. We are back in the city that does it like no other for mixed game poker, that is. We're in Las Vegas, soaking up some sun before it turns into 105 degrees out here. We've got to get into the air conditioning. Today's episode should be a lot of fun. I hope you like it. If you do, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. We're going to be going over two tournaments I played, the Orleans $600 triple draw tournament and the Golden Nugget T.O.E tournament. I hope you like it, and I'll see you on the other side. We're going to be starting the action at the Orleans in the $600 mixed triple draw event. That's Ace-5 triple draw, Deuce-7 triple draw, and Badugi. It's one of my favorite events to play, as you all know, because I love triple draw games. And the Orleans has a nice tournament series over the summer while the World Series of Poker is going on, where the buy-ins are a little bit lower. And so we're going to dive into the action with the first notable hand. For hand number one, we are playing Ace-5 triple draw at the $300, $600 level. I tend to get off to a fast start in these tournaments, and today will be no exception. I'm on the button and I'm dealt Ace-3-4, and I raise it up to $600 and get one caller in the big blind. He draws two cards and so do I. On the first draw, I pull in the 4 and he bets into me for 300, so I make the call. And on the second draw, he takes one and I take one, where I make the wheel. You gotta love making the wheel, although I prefer to make them a little bit later in the tournament and not on the second hand. But he bets into me for 600 and I raise to 1200 and get called. And on the third draw, he takes one and I stay pat. He checks and I bet 600 and he makes the call. I turn over the nuts and I rake in my first pot of the tournament. During the first break, I'm able to grab a picture with Nick, who was sitting at my table. He is the very first person to recognize me and say something from watching Year of the Wager. He was traditionally a Hold'em player, but started watching my channel in order to learn a little bit more about mixed games. And I will forever remember him as the first person that recognized me and actually introduced himself. And I actually played with him a couple more times throughout the series, and so wanted to make sure I gave him a shout out during the vlog. On the second hand of note, we are still playing Ace-5 triple draw at the $800, $1,600 level, and I am on the button once again. Under the Gun decides to raise it to 1,600, and the cutoff calls. I have Ace-4-7 and decide to raise it up to 2,400 to get the blinds out, which works perfectly, but Under the Gun raises again to 3,200 and he is all in. The cutoff and I both call, and we all draw two cards on the first draw. My hand then becomes Ace-2-4-7-8. The cutoff bets and I call. On the second draw, Under the Gun stays pat and the cutoff draws 1. I decide to also draw 1 since Under the Gun was pat, and I throw away the 8, taking one card, and I make Ace-2-4-5-7. The cutoff bets 1,600 and I raise to 3,200. This may have been a mistake because on the third draw, the Under the Gun player decides to take one since I raised, and the cutoff draws 1 as well. I stay pat and it works out well because I check on the last betting round and I turn over the winner, eliminating the Under the Gun player. On the third hand of note, we are playing Deuce-7 triple draw at the $1,200, $2,400 level, and I am on the button once again with 2-3-6. I raise to $2,400 and the big blind makes it 3,600 to go and I call. The big blind stays pat, which is very interesting, so I decide to take 2. I make 2-3-6-8 and the big blind leads into me for 1,200 and I make the call. On the second draw, he stays pat again and I take 1 and I brick my draw, but he bets 2,400 and I make the call once again. And on the third draw, he remains pat and I take 1 and I make 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, which is not bad. So when he bets 2,400, I make it 4,800, and he calls, turning over 8 perfect, and I lose. Just got to the second break in the Orleans triple draw tournament. I was doing pretty good, way ahead of the average stack. I think I got to maybe like 80 or 90,000. Just lost a few hands in a row that were close ones. Being dealt really good starting hands, but getting notched at the final draw. So got about 60,000 in chips right now. Going into the, I don't know what the next level is. It's like level 9 or 10 or something. We got 101 people in the tournament, so haven't eaten, so I gotta get some food real quick. On the fourth handed note, we are back to Ace-to-5 triple draw at the $1,500, $3,000 level. I'm under the gun and I'm dealt 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so I raise it up to $3,000. And under the gun +1 re-raises to $4,500. It folds back to me where I raise again up to 6,000 and I get called. On the first draw, I'm Pat and he takes 2, which is kind of hilarious as he was so aggressive. But I decide to bet for 1,500 and he calls. On the second draw, I stay Pat and he takes 1. I bet 3,000 and he calls. And on the third draw, I'm still Pat and he takes 1. I bet 3,000 and he calls and I win. So that's not a bad outcome. Have you all ever heard Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about the trillions of combinations that are in a shuffled deck of cards?
It's 8 times 10 to the 67th power. Let's get 1 trillion people, okay? 10 times the total number of people who have ever been born. Get 1 trillion people, and each of them a deck of cards. Everyone, shuffle your deck of cards 1 trillion times per second for 1 trillion years. And let that play out across 1 trillion civilizations in our universe. And let that play out across 1 trillion universes in the multiverse. When you do that, if you now take a deck of cards and shuffle it, there is only a 40% chance that that sequence, if properly shuffled, there's only a 40% chance it will equal any one of those that have just been shuffled across the multiverse. So we can say with good confidence that properly shuffled decks of cards in the history of card playing, their exact sequence from the first to the last card has never been duplicated. It's astronomical.
Well, that's how I felt when in the middle of the tournament, the open seat to my right was filled by a player who immediately recognized me from the channel and said, "Oh, you're gonna sit me next to Year of the Wager?" I thought it was quite funny. I gave him a pound. He sat down and started playing with me, saying that he started playing mixed because of my channel and really learned a lot. I was very appreciative of his comments, and I noticed that he was wearing all Cleveland Browns attire from head to toe. I'm from Cleveland, so I immediately asked him if he was too, and he said yes. He then said that he grew up in Solon, which is a little town outside of Cleveland, and I said I'm from Solon. He then said he grew up in a development that I grew up in. He then said he grew up on a street that I grew up on. And it turns out that he was actually my next door neighbor from 30 years ago. Statistically unbelievable. And I want to give a shout out to Mark, who just made me realize how small the world is, and that even if a deck of cards has trillions of combinations, anything is possible. And that's what makes this next hand even more unbelievable, because in Ace-to-5 triple draw at the $2,000, $4,000 level, I'm on the button and I'm dealt Ace-2-4, and under the gun raises $4,000. I make it $6,000 and she re-raises to make it $8,000. I cap it at 10 and she calls. On the first draw, we both take 2. I make the number 2 with Ace 2, 3, 4, 6, but she bets into me, so in order to disguise my hand strength, I just make the call. On the second draw, she stays pat, and I stay pat. She then bets 4,000 and I raise to 8,000. She raises again to 12,000. I make it 16 and she caps it at 20 and I call. On the third draw, she stays pat and I'm pat. She bets 4,000 and I play it safe and just call, and she turns over the wheel and I lose. Now that's what we call astronomical. Taking a thrashing like that in a tournament late in the levels is going to be pretty devastating to your stack. So I'm pretty much going to be all in on the next hand I decide to play, which is still an ace-to-5 triple draw at the $2,000, $4,000 level. I'm under the gun and I'm dealt ace-2-6. So I'm all in for $6,000 before the first draw when I raise it up, and I'm drawing 2. The button calls and is drawing 1. I make ace-2-4-6 on my first draw. On the second draw, we are both drawing 1, and I make ace-2-4-6-4, so I'm going to have to toss 1 away. On the third draw, we are both drawing 1. I make ace-2-4-6-8, and he makes ace-2-3-4-8, and I'm eliminated. You win some, you lose some.
What's going on, people? 2 comments coming at you. You're the wager, day 2 in Las Vegas. You know what it is? It's an early morning walk, but this time it's a walk with a purpose. We are walking over to the Wynn from Resorts World to get some of those lemon curd pancakes that they have at Tableau, something like that. But those are some of the best pancakes I've ever had. And so we're gonna make that happen this morning. Recap yesterday real quick. For some reason, I keep leaving my sunglasses in the room, which can be absolutely devastatingly blinding in Las Vegas. But I figured it was a short enough walk that I could not have to go back up to my hotel room. So anyway, really quick recap of yesterday, which was my first day playing. I played the triple draw tournament at the Orleans. Overall, I think it wasn't a bad start. I didn't cash, so that's disappointing. But it was really humbling, and it made me feel pretty good that a lot of people were recognizing me from the channel and telling me that they had been watching my videos in order to get boned up on some mixed games. So that really made me feel good and want to keep the channel going. Other than that, went over to the WSOP. Sat down at my first cash game since I've been here, 2040 mix. They had 6 tables going, which is unbelievable to have that many tables going in the mix. I've never seen that many tables going. Didn't work out well from a cash out perspective. Actually ended up losing, quite a bit for me, but just need to tighten up, get the rust off. So tune in and we'll see how we do. Thanks.
So it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to at the Orleans, but never fear, because during the World Series of Poker in Las Vegas, there are a ton of smaller tournaments that you can play all over the city, as well as medium tournaments as well. The Golden Nugget has the Grand Poker Series, which I really enjoy. We're going to be playing the $400 T.O.E tournament, which is deuce to 7 triple draw, Omaha 8 or better, and stud 8 or better. I've never played a tournament that had just these 3 games in the mix before, so let's see how it goes, and let's hope I do better than I did at the Orleans. So the first notable hand at the Golden Nugget T.O.E tournament was stud 8 or better, $300 ante, $1,200, $2,400 limits. And I start off with 3 queens. That's right, the ladies. I'm rolled up, and if you're gonna see some ladies, these are the types you want to see. So the bring-in is to my left, and the 7th seat actually has an ace up and decides to raise to 2,400. Of course, I'm gonna re-raise to 3,600, and both players call. On 4th Street, the 7th seat has the lead, so he initiates the action by betting 1,200. I raise to 24, and both players call again. On 5th Street, the 7th seat actually pairs his aces, but decides to slow down and check. I'm not gonna check. I bet 2,400 and they both call. And then on 6th Street, The 7 seats decides to lead into it with a bet of 2,400. I just call, and the bring in folds. I make my full house on the river. So when the 7 seat checks, I bet 2,400 and he calls. And of course I have that beautiful queens over kings full house. The second hand of note was also a stud 8 or better hand, $300 level, $1,500, $3,000 limit. And I'm still in the 5th seat. I'm dealt 4-10-7, but I misremember my hand and actually think I have a 5-10-7. So when I'm dealt up cards of 7-5-6-6, I think I have 2 pair with 6s and 5s. My opponent is showing 2 7s, but I'm also representing a flush draw with 3 diamonds showing, and I go ahead and bet the river. He has to think about it, as it's going to put him all in and eliminate him from the tournament if he's wrong. All he has is a pair of 7s, but instead of folding and holding on to his chips, he actually seems like he gives up on his tournament life and puts the chips in and gets up and gets ready to go. I actually make the announcement of 2 pair thinking that's what I have, and when I turn it over and realize that I was wrong, we have to call him back over to the table, and he ends up scooping the pot. What's interesting to me about it was that he really just gave up on his hand and was willing to get eliminated on a pair of 7s.
What's going on? I'm here with Kerry. We are playing the $400 T.O.E tournament at the Golden Nugget, and he let me know that he watches Year of the Wager, and it was very helpful for him. How you doing so far?
Good.
All right, the tips are good. Tips are good?
Tips are good. Been playing mixed games for about a year and love it. Video's been very helpful.
Okay, great. Well, good luck, and we'll see you at the final table. All right? All right. So just made it to the first break of the T.O.E tournament, $400 buy-in at the Golden Nugget. Doing pretty good. Been making some hands and feel good. I feel even better because people have been coming up to me saying that they watched the channel and it's really helped them out in the mixed games. So that makes me really happy and gives me motivation to keep going. Even when I'm having a bad poker experience and on a downswing, it lets me know that this is worthwhile and people are more attracted to the mixed game. So meeting some good people. The guy sitting to my left was from France, Alvin, and said he watches me in France. So kind of unbelievable and humbling, and want to make sure I continue to put out good content for people to enjoy. So thanks for watching if you're watching. Third hand of note, we are still playing stud 8 or better. It is the $500 ante, $2,000, $4,000 level. I start off with ace 4-5 of hearts. On 4th Street, I make the 2 of hearts. On 5th Street, I make the 3 of clubs for the wheel. On 6th Street, I make the king of hearts for the flush. It just keeps getting better and better, and I end up taking down both the low and the high in this hand. After some bad play and the blinds continuously going up, I find myself in some all-in action opportunities. It's a $500 ante, $4,000, $8,000 level in Omaha 8 or better. I'm in the 6th seat. I've got 9-9, Queen 3, and I get it all in. The board comes 10-6, 10, King 7, and I end up bringing in a $30,000 pot. All right, so we made it to break 2 in the $400 Golden Nugget T.O.E tournament, which is triple draw, Omaha 8 or better, and stud 8 or better. I have a pretty good amount of chips where we're at in the level. I think we're going into level 8 or 9. And I got like 65,000 in chips. So I feel good. It's over 100 people in the tournament. Long way to go before first place in the final table, but we're gonna get there. So the hands are getting more and more crucial, and the blinds and antes are going up. We're playing stud 8, $500 ante, $2,000, $4,000, and I'm still in the 6th seat, and the player in the 7th ends up getting it all in, starting off with 2-3-4, and I started off with ace 2-5. Unfortunately for him, I end up making a better 2 pair than he had, aces and queens, where he just had deuces and 4s, and he ends up getting eliminated. In the 6th hand of note of stud 8 or better, it's a $2,000 ante,
$6,000, $12,000 limits. I'm in the 6th seat. I start off with 10, 10, 3. I decide to get the money in there, and I get another 10 on 4th Street, and I make a full house on 6th Street with 10s full of 3s, and the dream stays alive.
All right, so we just broke for dinner break, and right before dinner break, I played really, really bad. I probably gave away 36,000 in chips, more than half my stack, calling bets in Omaha 8 or better that I just shouldn't have been calling. And I had a table change with people who play Omaha 8 for a living. So very low stacked right now. Then we went on dinner break, which I hate when you gotta wait 45 minutes before you can get back and play to see if you're gonna be able to double up or not. Whatever the next hand I go in on is gonna be the hand I'm all in on. We double up one more time, we right back in it. There's a total of like 100 players, and we are down to under 40, and it's $9,000 up top, so need to make some moves.
One more time, instead 8 or better, $2,000 ante, 6,000, 12,000 limits is getting crucial. Every single hand is going to make or break me in this tournament at this point in time. I need to get closer to the money. We are down to 3 tables. I'm still in the 6th seat. I'm dealt king 7, king up. I get the money in there and end up making 2 pair with kings and 4s and stay alive to see the next hand.
All right, just made it to another break. It has been crazy, all in, running hot, losing some hands type of scenario in this T.O.E tournament. There are 20 people left. They are paying 13. I am by far the smallest stack at our table. So I'm gonna be in, all in probably on the next hand I play. We're currently playing stud 8 or better. So antes are also going in, which are very expensive right now. But if I can win the next hand, and then the hand after that, I'll probably have a chance at making the money and making a run for first place, which is $9,000 up top, which is obviously what I want. So been a long day. I've been playing for the past 9.5 hours, getting down to the nitty gritty right now. So let's see how it turns out.
And what ends up being my last hand of the tournament before I get into the money, we're still playing stud 8 or better. I've got to go all in. The antes are $3,000, $10,000, $20,000 level. And unfortunately, I start off with 2, 3 in the hole, 9 up. And we've got to turn our cards over. And Kerry from earlier in the blog starts off with ace 2, 3. So I'm in bad shape. He catches a 4, then a 6, then a 5. He makes the wheel, and I don't have a chance to get any part of the pot. So I'm eliminated from the tournament, which is very disappointing after playing all day and being so close to the money. But if I am going to get eliminated, I'm glad I was eliminated by a viewer of the channel, and hopefully he ended up making the money and taking the whole thing down. Kerry, if you're watching, leave a comment down below and let us know how you did.
So we got knocked out in 19th place.
Just so close to making it too, Paul. Just so close.
They were playing 13 places, so did not cash, which is very disappointing because I wanted to cash, obviously, and take it down. I've been trying to get a first place for quite a while. So unfortunate. Only consolation is that Kerry, who I introduced you to earlier, who's a viewer of the channel, was the person that knocked me out. We were playing 7-card stud 8 or better, and he started off with ace 2, 3. So he actually made the wheel. So what are you gonna do? So gotta try again later. Sucks when you play for 10 hours and then don't have anything to show for it. It's difficult in the one-day tournaments because the blinds go up so quick. But we will go get some rest, and we will give it another shot tomorrow. All right. So that didn't work out as planned, obviously, which is the price we pay here at Year of the Wager to bring you the absolute best mixed game content on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed. Please do me a favor. Tell your mama and them about the channel so we can grow the views. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.